in the screen. This is your chapter number 11. We have completed our chapter number 10 before Ramzan. Now this is your new chapter, homeostasis. This is chapter number 11. Before starting the chapter, we have to know the meaning of homeostasis. What is the meaning of homeostasis? So look at, follow my hand, homo. Home means home, and stasis means to maintain. It means homeostasis means to maintain your home. Because we are study about the biology, at it biology we study about the human body. So to maintain our to maintain and balance our body, the maintenance of your body is called homeostasis. Home means home and stasis means to maintain. It means to maintain our to maintenance your body is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is a process. You can see the definition. Homeostasis may be defined as the maintenance of the internal condition of body at equilibrium despite changes in the external environment. Answer is very simple. Homeostasis means the we all of know that our body temperature remains at 37 degrees centigrade. You can also see in the page, it never change, it always remains in a constant position. So either the temperature is fluctuation, if there is fluctuation in the environment, in our surrounding, in air, in temperature, it doesn't affect on our body temperature. So the maintenance of our body temperature, our salts concentration and water concentrations, these all make a system which is called homeostasis. So the maintenance of salt concentration, water concentration and temperature in our body, that is called the homeostasis. And why our temperature remains same at 37 degrees centigrade? Because if temperature raise from 37 degrees centigrade, for example, if it goes from 37 to 40, it means there is denaturation of enzyme is started. You also study in chapter in class 9 chapter number 6 enzyme, that our enzymes do their jobs at specific temperature. They always work at 37 degrees centigrade. They will never work below the temperature, and they will never work above the temperature. They need a 37 degrees centigrade. So if temperature raise from 37 degrees centigrade, because of that the enzymes stop working. And when enzymes stop working, it means that different systems in our body will be collapsed. They will not work. The systems, the functions, the hormonal functions will not work. So homeostasis is very important part of our body. And you can also see another example. The blood glucose level remains about 1 gram per liter. We all of know. We also know that our body needs approximately 5.5 liter blood in our body, and in 1 liter body only 1 gram of glucose is required in our body. Either you are taking rich carbohydrates or other things, but your body requires only 1 gram carbohydrates, 1 gram uh, glucose in your blood. So homeostasis is a process. It is a process. It is the maintenance of the internal conditions of body at equilibrium. Equilibrium is balance despite changes in the external environment. Homeostasis can be we can understand homeostasis by uh, in the form of three conditions, and these three conditions are osmoregulation, thermoregulation and excretion. You can see osmoregulation, you can see osmoregulation, thermoregulation and excretion. First is osmoregulation. It is maintenance of the amounts of water and salts in body fluids. That is blood and tissue fluids, the system in our body which maintain water and salts in our body. That process is called osmoregulation, and we all of know that water and salts inside in our cells control the process of diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion is a process from higher concentration to lower concentration. We have studied in chapter 4 class 9. And osmosis happen the movement of only water molecules, and these all are essential for our cells. And you also study this concept of tonicity in grade 9. So osmoregulation is a process of homeostasis in which water and salts are maintained. Second process is called thermo thermoregulation. Thermoregulation is the maintenance of internal body temperature. The maintenance of internal body temperature is called thermoregulation. I have told you the enzymes of our body. You can see the enzymes of body work best at particular temperature. Means optimum temperature. What is the optimum temperature of the body? That is 37 degrees centigrade. Any change in body temperature may affect the functions of enzyme. Definitely, if temperature raise and if temperature decrease in the body, it directly affect on the working of enzymes, and the enzymes will not work, which can cause of the collapse of the system. At the third system, homeostasis, work with excretion. Excretion is also a process of homeostasis. In this process, the metabolic waste are eliminated from body to maintain the internal conditions at equilibrium. We all of know that we take different type of things in our body, and when digestion is happen, definitely the part of the food which is important for our body, it becomes the part of our body, and the wasted part is collected and eliminated from our body. And it is essential to eliminate from our body uh, uh, because it maintains the homeostasis. Okay, it is a process which maintains the which maintains our body system, and metabolic waste should be discharged from our body, for example urea, uric acid, like that. Now the next is that homeostasis in plants. We all of know there are two big group of living things in the world. They are plants and animals. So plants respond to environment changes and keep their internal condition constant, that is homeostasis. Definitely plants also responds to their environment, and because of that the homeostasis is happen in their body. We can understand the homeostasis in plants with different conditions. First is the removal of extra carbon dioxide and oxygen from the body of the plant. Before starting this topic, we have to keep in our mind that all plants have a mechanism, and they do two specific jobs. And what are their jobs? Okay, they do cellular respiration and they do the photosynthesis. When they do cellular respiration, it is happened at cell level, and because of that cellular respiration is happened at daytime. And photosynthesis, it is also happened at daytime, and carbon dioxide is used in photosynthesis. So at daytime when the plants is releasing oxygen in the air and they are absorbing carbon dioxide, that carbon dioxide is used for cellular respiration at daytime. So this is very clear mechanism that photosynthesis is depend upon cellular respiration. So cellular respiration and photosynthesis, they both are the very important for the plants. So what is happened in the uh, body of the plant? In plant tissues, yes, in plant tissues what is happened, diffusion is happened and extra carbon dioxide is removed. Definitely, the carbon dioxide, the plants which they are absorbing at daytime, they are using at night time for cellular respiration. And after that, if excess carbon dioxide is collected, that is removed from the body through diffusion. What is a diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. So it is removed from the body of the plant. But, and it also can remove from stem and leaves. In stems and leaves there are a lot of stomata in the body of the plant, so it can also release from the body. And if we talk about the roots, so in roots extra carbon dioxide is removed from the body of a plant through root hairs. You can also see in the page, carbon dioxide diffuses through the general root surface, especially through root hairs. And oxygen is produced in mesophyll cells only during daytime as a byproduct of photosynthesis. We all of know that oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis, and mesophyll cells they are present on the upper surface of the leaf. After its utilization in cellular respiration, the mesophyll cells remove the extra amount of oxygen through stomata. So, after utilization, extra oxygen is released from mesophyll cell. So, this is a process in which uh, homeostasis process is maintained, and extra oxygen and carbon dioxide can move from the body of the plant. Now, the next is removal of extra water from the body of the plant. How is it removed? For this process, we know that plants obtain water from soil and it is also produced in the body during cellular respiration. This is clear. Okay, all plants get water from the soil and they do the cellular. Plants store large amount of water in their cell for turgidity. Extra water is removed from plant body by transpiration. Transpiration. What is a transpiration? Transpiration is a loss of water to the surface of the leaf by evaporation process. You can also see in your page at night transpiration usually does not occur because most plants have their stomata closed. Yes, we know at night stomata always are closed. If there is a high water content in soil, water enters the roots and is accumulated in xylem vessels. But if there is excess water stored in the roots, then this extra water is stored in xylem vessels. Xylem vessels, we know xylem vessels and phloem vessels, they are present in the stem. Xylem vessels take up water, get water from the roots and take up the aerial parts of the plant of the body. And phloem vessels, they take up the organic materials, food particles from the roots and take up the all parts of the body. So some plants such as gases force this water through special pores present at leaf tips of edges and form drops. The appearance of drops of water on the tips of edges of leaf is called guttation. This is very important. This is a very important definition. Guttation. What is a guttation? Guttation. When excess water is comes stored in the roots, then it is absorbed by xylem vessels, and these xylem vessels, when they take up this extra water to the leaves, and this extra water is stored at the edges, at leaf tips or edges in the form of drops. This appearance of drops on the edges of the leaf is called guttation. So, like this process, the extra water can be removed from the body of the plant. Remove the plant and leaves, and when extra water is removed, because of that, leaves become yellow. And why it becomes yellow? It becomes yellow due to waste and then shed. When extra water is removed from the body of the leaf, it becomes a yellow, and then it become a yellow, and then it is shed, means it separate from the body of the plant. You can also see a removal of other metabolic waste. The third part is removal of other metabolic waste. Plants deposit many metabolic waste in their body as harmless insoluble materials. हार्मलेस जो नुकसान ना पहुंचाए, इनसॉल्युबल विच डू नॉट डिसॉल्व होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल calcium oxalate is deposited in the form of crystals in the leaves and stems of many plants. For example, in tomato, calcium oxalate highly rich produced in tomatoes, and it is deposited in the tomato in the form of crystals in the leaves and stems. So there are three ways in which homeostasis can be happen in the plants. First, we have discussed removal of oxygen and extra carbon dioxide. Second, we have discussed removal of extra water. And third, we are discussing removal of other metabolic waste. For examples, there are some other plants. In other plants, in trees we shed their leaves yearly. Okay, there are some trees which remove their metabolic waste as shedding their leaves yearly. The excretory products are removed from body during leaf fall. Other waste material that are removed by some plants are resins. You can see the examples resins by coniferous trees. Coniferous trees जो है वो resins के जरिए अपनी extra waste को निकालते हैं. Gums by कीकर. कीकर जो है वो gums की form में. Latex by rubber plant. Rubber plant produce latex as a metabolic waste. And mucilage by carnivorous plants and ladyfinger. And carnivorous plants and ladyfinger produce their metabolic waste in the form of mucilage. So you can also see the diagram. Resins drops from a tree, and resins are produced by coniferous trees. Latex being extracted from a tree. It's a rubber plant, and mucilage drops on a carnivorous plant. It's a pitcher plant. Pitcher plant is a carnivorous plant, so they can remove their metabolic waste through different ways. So like that they maintain their homeostasis in the body. Now the next topic is that osmotic adjustment in plants. On the basis of the available amount of water and salt, plants are divided into three groups. In previous topic, which we have discussed now, how plants can maintain homeostasis in their body. They can maintain their homeostasis in their body in three ways: by releasing extra carbon dioxide and oxygen from their body, by extra water, and by removing extra metabolic waste. Now this is an osmotic adjustment in plants. Okay, how plants can adjust their body in different environment. So because of that we can divide the plants into three main groups, three main big groups, and these are hydrophytes, then xerophytes, and the next one is uh, halophytes. So first we will discuss about the hydrophytes. Hydro means water. Phytes. Hydrophytes means the plants which live, you can see in the page, which live completely or partially submerged in fresh water. These are the plants which completely and partially submerge uh, in water, and they have different shape. They have different mechanism for the removal of extra water. All hydrophyte plants, you can see in the page, have broad leaves with a large number of stomata on their upper surface. Their leaves are very broad and they have a lot of stomata on their body because they have to live partially or permanently in the fresh water. So all time they are getting the water. If they are getting water all the time, and if they are not removing from their body, they will become turgid. And in tonicity concept we have studied in class 9, if a plant becomes turgid then its cell will be ruptured. So To save that condition, the plants they have a large number of stomata on their upper surface. These characteristics help that to remove the extra amount of water. The most common example of these plant is a water lily. Hydrophyte plants जो है, they have a large number of stomata on their body, and because of that extra water is removed, and and they do not become torture. Its example is water lily. Then there is xerophytes. Xerophyte means live in a dry environment. Like dry environment, for example, they are produced in deserts. They possesses thick, waxy cuticle over their epidermis to reduce water loss from internal tissues. Its good example is cactus. Cactus is found in desert plants, and it has a very long roots, approximately 30-meter long roots in the soil to get the water. So when it gets the water, its leaves are waxy, cuticle, and thick, and they has less stomata on their body. And because they have less soil, so the water which they get from the soil, it never loses easily. It is stored in the body. So you can also see, because this extra water is stored in their parenchyma cells, some xerophytes have special parenchyma cells in stems or roots in which they store large quantities of water, because they get water difficult they get water from the soil, and they store uh, in their roots, and this makes their stems or roots wet and juicy. So these these organs are called succulent organs. What are succulent organs? Because xerophyte plants are produced in desert, so they get water from the deep of the earth. So their stems and roots always, because they get water, store water in their stems and roots. So all time their stems and roots becomes wet and juicy. So this is called succulent organs. And cacti is a common example of this type of plant, cacti or cactus. Cacti is a singular and cactus are the common example of such plants. Now the third one is halophytes. And the third one is halophytes. Halophytes live in sea waters. Halophytes live in sea waters and are adapted to salty environment. Its answer is very simple, because they are produced live in seawater, and we all of know कि in sea there is a large amount of salt in the water. It means this is an ocean environment, or there is a lot of salt in the water and there is less water, and uh, the environment is hypertonic, so are adapted to salty environment. So salts enter in the bodies of such plants due to their higher concentration in seawater. Because the ratio of salt is very high in the ocean, so this salt is entered into the body of the plant, and on the other hand, water tends to move out of their cells into the hypertonic seawater. When salts enter into the cell, plants carry out active transport to move and hold large amount of salts in vacuoles. Definitely, when uh, we are talking about the ocean environment, when salts are entered in the body of the plant, because of that, the salts because of these salt, the vacuoles become turgor. They get a large amount of salts. These salts are not allowed to move out through the semi permeable membrane of vacuoles, so the sap of vacuoles remains even more hypertonic than seawater. In this way, water does not move out of cells, and many sea grasses are included in this group of plants. When these salts are enter into the vacuoles, they can't stay for a long time in the vacuole, but they are stay in the semi-permeable membrane of vacuoles. And because of that, the maintenance of the homeostasis is constant in the body of the plant. So it's good example are seagrasses, because they are found under the water. So halophyte produce a hypertonic environment. Okay, large amount of salts are entered in their body, and when these salts are entered in the body, they stay in the uh, uh, large vacuole. Uh, Actually, they stay in the semi-permeable membrane of the vacuoles, and because of that, the plants is maintain its homeostasis in their body. So these are the three main groups of according to homeostasis we can divided the plants into three groups: hydrophytes, xerophytes, and halophytes. And I have told you hydrophytes which completely live in fresh water, xerophytes which like to live in dry environment, and halophytes which like to live in sea water, in ocean environment. I think you understand it. Homeostasis in plants we have discussed today. Inshallah tomorrow we will discuss about the homeostasis in humans, how human body can maintain its body temperature and source, and which organs help to maintain the homeostasis. I hope you understand the topic. If you have any issue, you can understand, you can ask the question.